In this video, we will build a simple chat app using Angular. Before I show you the app, I would like to remind you that this video can be combined with other videos. So if you want to use Angular with any of these backend frameworks, check the links in the description of this video. Also, make sure to check scalablescripts.com for more courses. Now let's see the app that we will build. So this is the app. I opened two browsers, one in Chrome and one in Safari, so we can send messages to the other browser. So if I send here hi, you can see the message also on Safari as well. And if I write here hello there, you will see the message appear here also. So this is a simple version of the app which will be available on YouTube. If you want, the more advanced version of the app will be available in scalablescripts.com. So this is the advanced version. We can see that we can create a 2 people room and multiple people room. We can send messages, we can send images, and we can also use the pagination here. Also, each user is logged in as well. And we have a search box here where we can filter the rooms. Now let's build this app. Now let's set up Angular for the front end of this app. I will use the latest version, which is version 18 at the moment. And the first step is to go to the docs and install Angular CLI. So the command that we need to run is this command. I will open the terminal and install Angular CLI globally. And let's wait till this is completed. So it is completed. And now we will create our project with the command ng new. And I will call the project Angular Websockets in short. And I will select here CSS. I will not need the server-side rendering, and let's wait till this is completed. While the packages are getting installed, I will use PHP Storm in this course. So I suggest using Visual Studio Code for a free IDE, but in my case I will use this paid software. So if you want to try it, you have a 30-day full trial here. Let's see if the project is created. So it is created. Now I will open it with my IDE. So I opened the project, and now I will open the terminal and run the command ng serve. This will run the app on port 4200. I will click and I will open it. So we created our first app. Now let's change the HTML of this app. The first step is to install Bootstrap. So I'll copy this command and I'll open a new tab here and install the latest version of Bootstrap. So I installed it, and I will go to src app component.ts, and here I will just import the Bootstrap CSS. So the CSS was imported. I will remove the spec file here, so we don't we won't use tests in this app. Then in our app component.html, I will remove all of this HTML here, and I will change it with getbootstrap.com, go to examples, and here we have these sidebars, and I will copy the sidebar for this list group here. So I will inspect, and I will copy directly the HTML from the element here, and I will paste it here. So the first step is I will wrap everything with a div with a class container, and I will close it in the end. Let's see how it looks like. So it looks like this, and I will remove the list items because we don't need all of them, so I will remove them till here, and it will look like this. It seems this value here is highlighted in blue, so we have to remove that, and I will remove also the list group on top. And I think we need to remove this active class here and area current, and it will look like this. And now if we rename this list group here to the name of the user, so John Doe, the date is correct here, and here we will display the last message. It will look like this. So this is what we are trying to make this HTML look like. This will be a list of users and the last message that we had with that user and the date that we sent that message. Now let's add also the HTML for the right side. So for this I will remove this style with the width 380, and I will add a div here with a class of row. Inside I will add two classes, two divs actually, with a class of call 3 and another one of call 9. In the call 3 we will add the HTML that we just pasted, so it kind of looks the same. And now in the call 9 we will add the chat area, which will be composed of these three divs. So the first div is the head. I will make an ID here, head, with classes like py3, lh small, and border bottom. So we have just a line at the moment. We need another div here with an ID of conversation, and no classes at the moment. And in the end we need a form with an ID of reply and classes of padding 3 and width 100. So this is a form to send the message. So I will add here another div with the class of input group, and inside I'll put an input with a class of form control and a placeholder write a message. So it will look like this. So they are all together, like they are combined together, so it should not look like that. So let's add some CSS in the style CSS here. So based on the IDs that I set, so for the head we want a height of 50 pixels. For the reply we want a height of 70 pixels. And the rest will be for the conversation. So for the conversation, first I will make an overflow here, scroll, and then the height will be the calc function 100 view height minus 120 pixels. So it's like the difference of our screen with 120, which is the head and the reply, and it will look like this. So now it looks better. Let's add also a border for this call here, border, and it will look like this. And let's add also for this call 3 view height of 100. So this should always go to the bottom, even though we don't see anything at the moment, but if I add another background, it will go to the bottom. The color will go to the bottom, and that should be it. I will add here in the head another div, another strong actually, and with the class of margin bottom to 1, and inside we will display the members of this chat, which will be John Doe and Jane Smith. So it will look like this. Now let's add the last part, which are the actual messages. So in the conversation here, we will add a div with a class of row and padding top to 2. Inside we will add two divs, one with call 6. Actually both of them will be call 6 divs, but one will be empty and the other one will have the message inside. So we will write a div here with a class of alert primary, and display inline block. Role will be alert, and I will write here hi. So it will look like this. So this is a message that has been sent to us, and the message that we sent will be displayed on the other side. So I will copy again this HTML, paste it, and the difference here is I will cut this div and I will paste it on top. So the first div will be empty, and the second one will I will change the color, so alert success here, and instead of display inline block, I will use display inline block, but I will use float end, so I can push it in the end, and this will be hello there. So we finished the HTML. Now let's try to write a message and send it to the backend. So let's go to the form here, and we will try to submit this form. The first step is to create a form group. So I will go to app-component.ts. I will remove the title here, and I will create a form as a form group here. We need the constructor, which we need here a private form builder function as a form builder. So I misspelled here, and this form will be equal to this form builder group, and we need only to send a message. So that should be it. This is the form that we want, which only has a message value, which we will send to the backend. And now that message will be added as a form control name, like this. We need also to import reactive forms from the imports here. So make sure to add also reactive forms module in the imports, and the form control name is equal to message, and this message value is this value here for the message. We need also the form. We need to set the form group is equal to that form, and that's it. Now we are ready to submit that form and get whatever we write to the message. So for that we need another function. So I'll remove the spec file here. We don't need it. We need the submit function, and here we want to submit this form. And in the submit function, for the moment, I will just console log this form get row value. So get row value will display us all the actual values of the inputs. In our case, it is only one input. And let's try to submit. So this is the HTML. I'll go to the console, clear everything, and write a message hi. And as we can see, we get the message hi here, which means that it is working fine. The only thing left now is to send this message to the backend, and we will do that via services. So I will write here ng generate services, and I'll call this the message service. So as we can see, we created two files. We created a folder here, and we have a test file here which we won't use, and I will delete it, and the message service that we want. Before I make any changes here, I will go to angular.json. I will go to the schematics and replace the schematics with this. So every time I create services or components, I want to skip the test. So I don't want to create two files, just one is enough. Now let's go to the message service, and here we need the private HTTP client. So with this we can connect to the backend, and I will create a function here. I'll call it just create. We'll pass some data. I will cast it as any, and I will return this HTTP. We'll send a post request to HTTP localhost port 8000/API/message, and we will send the data as it is. And that should be it regarding the HTTP request. So what we want to send is this get row value here, and it is pretty simple. The first step is to just import, so have the dependency here for the message service, like this, message service, don't forget to import it, and in the submit function we will call message service create, and we will pass get row value. And we need also to subscribe to know what happens there, and the subscribe method has a next function as also an error function here. So the error has a parameter of error. I will just console log if an error happens, and if the message is sent, I will also console log the response here. And that should be it. Let's try to see if it works. It seems that we have an error, no provider for HTTP client. So we need to add the provider for HTTP client, and in Angular 18 the way to do it is to add here provide HTTP client, like this. And as we can see now, we are not having an error. So we can write a message hi, and we get an error actually. I think it's working fine because as you can see, this is not a JSON response, but we get success, so it is working fine. So we are successfully sending messages to the backend, but we are not displaying them in the conversation. So let's do that with socket.io, and the first step is to install socket.io client. So we need this package, and the second step is to ng generate services. We will create a socket service. So we created that. Let's go to the socket service, and here we will make the connection to our backend. So with the value private socket is equal to IO, which we will import it from socket.io client, and inside we'll put HTTP, sorry, not HTTP, the WebSocket connection to localhost port 8080. And we can pass here also some parameters, but I will keep it empty. So this is our connection, and what we need now is another function. I'll call it get messages, and here we will return a new observable, which will have an observer here. So let me spell it right, observer. And inside we will have this socket connection on message. We will retrieve a message as a string, and we will only want to call the next function with that message. So we simply want to dispatch that message, and when the socket gets disconnected, also the observable will call that. So we will return here a function that will call this socket disconnect. And that's it for our observable. We will listen to this on message event. Let's use that to our app component.ts. I will call here the socket service, so private socket service, socket service. I will need to implement here the onInit interface. So let's implement what is missing, which is ng onInit here. I will remove this, and I will call here the message service, not the message service, sorry, socket service, get messages, subscribe, and here we will have our message. And that should be it in terms of receiving messages. And now, how do we want to display those messages? It's up to us how we want to display it. I will do it like this. So I'll make a variable messages, which is an array. And when we receive a message, I will simply push the message like this. So as we can see, it is throwing an error. I will cast this as any, and I need to cast again the messages here. I will cast as a string array. So that should be it regarding the retrieving of the messages. We should also display them in the conversation. And what I will do is comment this second HTML because at the moment I want to just display a message, and even if it is in the wrong place, later on we will fix whenever is the receiver or the sender, and we will show the second HTML. So to show the conversation, we have to make a for loop. So I will use here in Angular 18 this for decorators. So for message of messages, I will track the message. I'll cut this HTML, put it inside, and instead of hi, I will just display the message like this. And that should be it. Let's try that on the browser now. I opened two browsers. One is Chrome, one is Safari. And let's see if I write here a message, it displays both ways. So as you can see, they are both showing on the left side, but later on we will fix that for one user will be on the left side and for one user will be on the right side. And if I write here as well, hello there, it displays on the both sides. So this is how we send messages with Socket.io. Now let's implement a database for this app.